With that, greetings, people. I'll do better. What is up, party people? Greetings. Trying this with Facebook as well as Periscope, so we'll see what's going on. Had to give me a click for that one. I like that. That's somebody that's listening to the Midday 180. Much appreciated. Enjoyed the rain today. Appreciate that. Mashed carrots. Always fun to present the mashed carrots. I don't know if I'm hitting anybody at barbecue places in Kansas City. I like Albert Bryan. Is it Albert Bryan's? It's really good. But we've been to Kansas City 2 years in a row. Preseason last year and opening day the year before. And I'm not getting in until relatively late. So maybe Sunday night I'll probably eat well. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you. Yeah, it's working better now, Holden. I was having some problems. I changed my Facebook page name a while ago, and I'm having some conflict there in terms of how it works. So I'm working on it. Work in progress. Cold weather affect Marcus negatively? I don't expect it to be a huge problem. Hello, Houston. Will I be doing a mock draft? Yeah, I mean, I'll be part of a mock draft in April. I haven't lost, well, I mean, I may have lost weight. It was from my bout with the stomach flu. Ask that Floyd question again, if you will. Yeah, I don't understand why Michael Floyd was fascinating to people, but he shouldn't have been. I think the Titans are going to have a hard time to make the playoffs. I think they're going to win their final 2 games, probably. But I don't think they're going to win this week. And I think that's going to make for a hard path to in. Houston doesn't have it very difficult. So we'll see. I think they'll be able to run it. I don't know how well. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's not any ingenious thing to say it's going to be a game about mistakes. And I think Kansas City is more experienced and better at not making mistakes and at forcing mistakes. No, I don't think the plan will be so. I mean, I think, yeah, they'll want to run it a ton this weekend, but I think they'll expect to throw it more, for sure. Crown of my head is shiny. That's what happens when you're bald and you don't put on makeup. And I'm not putting on makeup for a Periscope / Facebook Live. Wildcard possibilities, certainly. If they could wind up in a tie with Denver or with Miami, they'd be in good shape. I don't think they're in very good shape against the Ravens when it comes to AFC record or common opponents. But need some teams to lose some games. Houston, Denver, Miami all have to come back to the Titans a little bit. And I don't know that they'll be able to come back to, I mean, they have to come back to the Titans a little bit, and the Titans need to not lose. And again, I think they're going to have a hard time in Kansas City. Jeff Fisher, I don't think will be a head coach in the NFL again. If the Titans win out, they win the division. It's not a question anymore. Let's not talk draft tonight. It's December, and the Titans were looking at how they qualify for a playoff spot, not how they qualify for the #1 pick. Let's not talk draft. I'm not well-versed in draft, and I'm happy to not be well-versed in draft. Yeah, he'll throw for more than 100 yards against the Chiefs. Will MM be back next year, or did he have a 1-year deal? I'm presuming you're asking about the MM who's Mike Mularkey, not the MM who's Marcus Mariota. And of course he got more than a 1-year deal. Don't know about Casey. Don't know. Limited. Titans receivers embarrassed about performance despite the win. I mean, they weren't the only ones who were bad. They didn't do great things, but Mariota didn't do great things, and they didn't try much. Yeah, it'd be tough for Klug to play, I think. Yeah, everybody's asking me about Hester. Somebody even asked me about Griff Whalen, who was in New England. These guys are getting cut because they're doing a bad job returning. And somehow you think they're going to come here and do a good job. I don't really get it. Hester made a terrible decision in that game that got him cut. Kendall Wright would be one of the best receivers in the league if he played in New England, somebody just said. You know what Kendall Wright would be if he played in New England and he was late for that meeting on Saturday? Unemployed. That's what Kendall Wright would be. Favorite Springsteen album is Born to Run, but I shouldn't say that. I'm a huge fan of The River. Everybody defaults to Darkness on the Edge of Town. I will not default to Darkness on the Edge of Town. Mariani has no explosive plays. I agree. He also does not have any space to run into. So, I mean, he's not the fastest guy by any means, but it's the least of their problems. He doesn't make mistakes. Wright in kick return, good decision. Wright doesn't return kicks, and most of the time you take a knee in the end zone. So I don't think Alshon Jeffrey's a good possibility. He just got himself suspended. He's going to get overpaid, and I think the Titans want to grow their own. Do I think Tennessee's a better team than Houston right now? I think they're better rounded for sure, but we'll see. Has McBride earned more special teams time? I can't be active if that's all he can do, and Wright's going to be active, so I don't know that he's even active in Kansas City. I think Eric Berry will get locked up in Kansas City, and the Titans feel pretty good about what they've got at safety. Way too early to call Kevin Dodd a bust. Year one was a bust. We'll see him in year two. He's got a lot of talent. I haven't turned on that Rams game yet. How bad are they losing? How do you seem to rest on your laurels? They had 5 chances to get over 500 and consistently didn't do it until this week. And they just did it. I don't know how that's resting on their laurels. 10-3, but it's incredibly ugly. There's a surprise. This is the sweater that was debated on Midday 180. I think it's a lovely sweater, but I'm not a sweater guy, and it's too hot. Sweaters are too hot. DeAndre Hopkins is a great player. I don't think he's a free agent this coming year. I think he wanted to redo his contract, and they didn't do it. He's not heading for free agency for another year, and he won't get there. It's a good point. Somebody just made Morgan look like a bust as a pass rusher after 1 year, and he's pretty good now. Sims played pretty well. You had to be pleased with what they got out of him. Rashard Matthews' ceiling. I mean, I think this is kind of close to his ceiling. I mean, heck, if he's a 10 touchdown guy, that'd be fantastic. And if they can get a clear-cut number one ahead of him, I think he'll be really good. Womack doesn't have to let go. Womack's going to be a free agent. He's not going to get re-signed. Mariota's got a chance for the Pro Bowl. I don't think he gets elected to the team initially. I think he'll get added as a alternate. Secondary looked a lot better. You have to give him credit. And I don't have a lot of faith in Valentino Blake, and didn't know what to expect from Sims. McCourty's not looking better, unfortunately. I think they're very happy with this offensive line. If they can keep those 2 guards who are both under contract, I think they'll be very pleased. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, but my predictions mean nothing. McCourty doesn't have any help. The safeties help corners, and the corner playing opposite of McCourty really has no bearing on whether McCourty's covering well or not. The a good question about what one change would I make. Well, here's one change that I would make that's not a big deal, and I don't know that it's the singular change I would make, but I'd stop pretending in my unofficial depth chart to be a two-back team. Why are they compelled to pretend they're a two-back team? Why is the mission of the depth chart to pay tribute to Jolston Fowler? I don't understand that. Yeah, corners need to look back for the ball more. Where did I get my profile picture? I'm not even thinking what my profile picture is. I think George Walker, my friend who works for the Tennessean, took it. McCourty's not played particularly well for a good segment of this season. I don't hate Jolston Fowler. I hate fullback, and I hate pretending to be a two-back team when you're a two-tight, three-tight team. Oh, all-pro fullback. There shouldn't be an all-pro spot for a fullback. No news on a Douglas fine yet. I don't expect he's going to get fined. It's a legal play. Holden Stone apparently thinks I'm too laid back here. You want me to rant here, Holden? I'm not sure what you're looking for exactly, but appreciate the compliment of the show. Of course you can start to get excited. Why would you not be excited already? Need for a coverage linebacker is pretty good. I'd say corner, receiver, inside linebacker, probably third. With the loss to the Chiefs, what does it take to make the playoffs? Well, you need Houston to lose a game, and you need to win the last two. You need Houston to lose a game in addition to that last one. So you need Houston to lose to either Cincinnati or Jacksonville. And then you need Indianapolis not to catch up. Kendall Wright's not going to start. Kendall Wright's the third receiver. It's not a gap sweater, no. Inside linebackers a need in the nickel. Avery Williamson's not covered very well. Woodyard's played well, particularly the last couple of weeks, but he doesn't play in the nickel package either. The guy that really needs to be replaced is Sean Spence, but Williamson needs to be better than he's been. He's a good, solid tackler, but just hasn't shown up enough in pass coverage. Byard probably will cover Kelsey, and that'll be a very interesting matchup. Titans need a player like Tyreek Hill, except for the part where he punches his pregnant girlfriend in the stomach. Yeah. Am I super mellow? I mean, I'm not fighting, but I'm not sleeping. If Schwenke's a free agent, I'm not positive about his contract. That sounds right. He's not. It's not a priority, but they certainly like him as depth. Zach Cunningham would be great on this team or any team, but I don't know that he's going to be somebody they're in range of. Yeah, that's Coldplay over there, U.S. Soccer behind me, Springsteen over there. Titans don't have the best offensive line in the league. I understand you're excited, but you need to watch Dallas. I will be doing the polar plunge. I'm there every year. I'm like James Franco hosting the Oscars. Well, I know that's an insult because he was terrible. Some of those questions are coming so fast on Periscope, I can't keep up. Hey, James Hughes is on his way to see Rogue One. Enjoy. I'm curious, but I won't go while it's crowded. Sonia Cunningham likes a chill PK. I'm not 100% feeling better, but also, it's a wind it down kind of thing. I want you people to be able to get some sleep tonight. Still drink Spark. Haven't been running in a while. Being on Monday Night Football is not that big a deal. Matchups are pretty lousy. Yeah, I think they'll be on Monday Night Football next year. I don't know if Warmack's at the facility anymore. Guys on IR aren't in the locker room generally during the media's time in the locker room. I've seen Byron Bell a couple times this year, but it's kind of set up that they're not in there with the team. I don't know that Terry Robisky's so erratic with the play calling. I don't really agree with that suggestion. I'd love to see that ratings joke again. It looked pretty funny, but I missed it. Cold games benefit the Titans' style of play, sure, but it's not like Kansas City's surprised by Kansas City weather. They live there. They practice there. They're equipped to play there as well. Now, Denver's secondary is better than Kansas City's, but Rams have 97 yards in the first half. Everything's fixed with Fisher out of there, that's for sure. I think the Titans are going to get flexed, by the way, if that Houston game decides the division. I think it'll probably be. There are a couple other compelling games, but if it's a win and in game, I think there's a good chance it gets flexed to Sunday night, last night of the season, which would be cool. That'd be good for. Am I personally happy that Jeff Fisher was fired? No, I like Jeff. I mean, I think things got out of control there, and it didn't do himself any favors, but I'm not rooting for somebody who I like and who's been helpful to me to lose his job. Yeah, force a weak quarterback to beat you. A lot of teams have suffered from thinking, or a lot of teams' fans have suffered from the thinking that Alex Smith is a weak quarterback. Appreciate that compliment on the Delaney show. We have a lot of fun with it. It's been even better than we expected, and feels pretty organic, pretty natural. We got a good rapport with him. We have a lot of fun. I think it's way too early to judge Kevin Dodd's work ethic. I don't know what's been going on in his foot or in his head. Yeah, Delaney's a super entertaining guy. John Robinson, has done executive of the year type of work, but usually the executive of the years, first off, it's not an official award. It's not a Associated Press award. I think there's one from the Pro Football Writers Association, but it's not one of the main postseason awards. And off the top of my head, I can't think of who it should be, but there are candidates certainly who outrank John Robinson probably right now. I think probably be in line for it after a second off season if things go well. His old buddy in Tampa Bay is looking pretty good right now. South Dakota, what's going on? We're complaining about it being cold here. Yeah, I think they're going to lose Sunday. How much could I bench? 6-pack. Savannah, Georgia's nice, but it's not as far away as South Dakota. Is the Pirates Inn still there in Savannah? Got tired eyes going on right now. If the defense played like it played against Denver, it's strong enough to make a run. I don't think Tajay's a true number one. But I think far too much is made of the number one receiver debate. I mean, to be a number one receiver, you need to be like Green or Julio Jones or Amari Cooper. They need to account for you on every play. It's not like every team has one of those. I'm not from close to Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm from New Jersey, but my parents are both from Pennsylvania. I think Mike Mularkey's done a heck of a job, but Coach of the Year is going to be, you know, Belichick or Garrett or I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. Yeah, I'll be at the Jacksonville game. No better way to spend Christmas and Christmas Eve than getting to and from Jacksonville. Del Rio, definitely a Coach of the Year candidate, which surprised me. Do you re-sign Murray? Joey Hurt asks. He's under contract for 2 more years. I wrote about Murray and Comeback Player of the Year today, and he sounds like he doesn't want it. I think he thinks, and a lot of people have come to think, that it's a comeback from injury award. Jordy Nelson, Marquise Pouncey, 2 good candidates there. But if you look at what Murray's done, I don't think it has to be a comeback from injury award, and I think he's definitely worthy of consideration. What's up, Hutton? Thank you. Hutton was touching this sweater today. He was kind of touching the sleeve like this, and then I couldn't get him to let go. It's like Finley, my dog. He just wouldn't let go. Wouldn't let go. Hutton's very handsy. That's true. Whoever said that. Not to be mistaken with handsy or Hansi, but handsy. Yeah, I'm going to not entertain any Derrick Henry questions. Just going to assert my authority. Also, if you write a name with a question mark, not answering that. It's not coarse. He used the wrong word. He's pretty good with words. Today he wasn't that good with words on that. Hey now. Got a hey now. Also getting some interesting emojis. Do I see a Super Bowl soon? I mean, I think they can be a Super Bowl contender in 2018. Wallace got his playing time playing for Sean Spence, I believe, and I think he will get some playing time playing for Sean Spence. Now we're down to 1 name and no question mark, which is not an upgrade. See, this video over here on Facebook Live is pretty good, reasonably well framed, though I need to be a little higher and a little less glary, but this is not framed that well. I have to figure out how to get them both to look good at the same time. It's not an itchy sweater. There are no objections to this sweater, except I'm not a sweater guy, and I don't like wearing sweaters because they tend to be hot. Mularkey's absolutely exceeded my expectations. They cut Fluellen because they didn't need the insurance at running back anymore because DeMarco Murray's toe and Derrick Henry's calf aren't issues. So they promoted Abdesmond because Klug and Casey have injury issues. I'm always talking about the Titans being 2 years out. I'm pretty sure 2 years ago I wasn't talking about the Titans being 2 years out. Eric Berry won Comeback Player of the Year last year. Favorite restaurant in Nashville is the Southern. You're asking why Mularkey loves Douglas so much. At least we're not asking why he loves McCluster so much. Thank you, Holden Stone. Travis Kelce, very, very dangerous guy. I think Kevin Byard will draw a big assignment, and hopefully he can do better than some guys have done lately. But it's a tough guy. I've not been to Ireland. I've been to Europe a couple times, but never Ireland. Who's more broke, Vince or Pac-Man? Vince. Pac-Man's in the league, making a pretty good salary. Man, the questions are coming so fast on Periscope that it's making me a little sick. I did not make the playoffs in either of my fantasy football leagues. Terrible year. No excuse. Yeah, they've got to take a wide receiver somewhere in the draft. I just wouldn't. It's not a guarantee that they're taking one in the first 2 rounds with the way a lot of people think. I assure you that every year in April, I do not say they're 2 years out. I did not say that 2 years ago in April. Is Luck still the best quarterback in the AFC South? Yeah, I think he probably is, but I think it's a lot closer than it used to be. Jaguars, I think their three remaining games, I think, are against the three teams in the AFC South, and I think they're going to win one of them. But there's no guarantee that Jason McCourty's on this team beyond this year. I have to see what they do, have to see how he finishes, but there's no guarantee he's not either. Yeah, I don't understand the Fat Mo's conversation going on, but I'm certainly not participating in that. Where Romo ends up, where Cutler ends up are the two big veteran questions about quarterbacks. Garoppolo, I suppose, as well, will be very interesting. Yeah, I'm bald and there's a light up there, so it's shiny. There, I'm aware. Thanks, though. Yeah, you go ahead with your 1025 guy that likes him better. We knew there was one of you out there somewhere. Also, you work for them. Why hasn't Tritola been getting reps? Ahead of who? Who would you like to see him play ahead of? The correct answer is no one. The offensive line's very good. Why would you mess with it? Not reading. When am I reading? This guy says, good Lord, you're way better not reading and just being awesome. Well, thank you that you think I'm being awesome. I don't know when you think I'm reading. I think there's a good chance, it depends on who's available and everything, but there's a good chance that John Robinson would trade a first-round pick. Klein is signed beyond this year. I think Spain has a very good chance of being a starter again next year. I think Craig Stevens would have been, I don't think they're as good as the regional Mexican station, honestly. I think, who did I just say would be as good? Sorry. Oh, Stevens. Yeah, I don't know that he would. I think Fasano's done great work, and Kelly has done great work, and they haven't missed Stevens as much as I thought. They've got to find a young tight end. I don't know if that necessarily means the end of Fasano, but they've got to get younger. If you met Bruce at a book signing, you are lucky. I would have killed for that. Killed for that. I think Kendall Wright's gone for sure, but I don't know that for a fact. He's not the kind of team first guy they're looking to build around. Doesn't have a big role here. Somebody on there is advertising how drunk they are, which is, I'll offer my congratulations, I suppose. Is that the proper answer? Murray trade is awfully good. Where did I stop Twitter mailbag? I know I answer tweets kind of as I go along, and editors don't want big, long ones anymore, so we've kind of moved a different direction. I think I was probably beyond Santa, but I got a very sweet air hockey table once upon a time as a kid in New Jersey. It was like a mini air hockey table, but it was legit. Yeah, it was probably pass interference on the Marcus throw. Better throw, wouldn't have been a question. Show topics tomorrow, to be determined. I wouldn't give up a first-round pick for Brandon Marshall. It's crazy. I don't know how Wycheck is at ping pong, so I'm not very good at ping pong. I would take Wycheck against me in beer pong. Best rookie on the Titans is Jack Conklin, for sure. Hey, somebody complaining about the ESPN revamp. It's been a long time. I mean, if you can't find it, I'm sorry, but it's a you problem. Bookmark it. Or set the Titans as a favorite on your ESPN app, and then you click the star, and boom, there's my stuff. River's better than the Rising. Both great, though. Ping pong challenge tomorrow. I won't be in when Frank is in. and he won't be in when I'm in. Amy Adams Strunk absolutely deserves some credit. Andre Johnson retired because he had a long weekend and decided he didn't want to play anymore. Yeah, you should get used to the idea of Conklin not going to the Pro Bowl. Right tackles don't really go to the Pro Bowl, though I know Doug Free is going to wind up going to the Pro Bowl, but it's usually loaded with left tackles. Never met Craig Sager. Was sorry to hear the news today, and impressed with him during his battle. Sad. I did just roll my eyes at the Jack Conklin is definitely a Pro Bowler talk. Oh, I think I picked 21-17 Chiefs. All right, we're getting close to wrapping up. So if you've been saving your good question, offer it now. I personally don't think Bud Adams is. I understand the case for Bud for the Hall of Fame, but here's the case against him. He couldn't make peace with politicians in Houston when it shouldn't have been that hard, and in exchange for making the move to Nashville, he basically gave his vote to the commissioner. So he then was a league yes man. I know he gets compared to Lamar Hunt a lot, but to me, Lamar Hunt seems to have had much greater influence as an older owner than Bud did. So obviously the AFL story couldn't have been written without Bud, and the NFL story isn't written without the AFL, but I just don't feel that pull that Bud is a Hall of Famer. I think the Jags are going to beat someone, but I've thought the Jags are going to beat someone for a long time. So a couple more and we'll head out of here. I haven't really studied free agency. I haven't really studied the draft. I'm finally writing and talking about a team that is playing relevant football in the middle of December, and I'm very happy to not be able to tell you much about free agency or about the draft. Yeah, the Titans are going to throw more this week than they did last year. I'm not a Titans fan. Mandatory question in a Periscope, apparently. Just a simple reporter and analyst who doesn't have a rooting interest. Cornerback, wide receiver, inside linebacker, three biggest needs. Think the fan situation will be better next year? I do. I would think that people will. The new fridge is sweet. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think it'll be better next year. No, I'm not a Titans fan. Nobody who reports on a team is a fan of the team for which they report. If he or she is a fan of that team, they're not a very good reporter, and they're probably not at a very good outlet. Coldest game I attended was Titans at the Patriots in the playoffs, where Drew Bennett dropped the fourth down pass from Steve McNair. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Jim Wyatt now works for the Titans. When Jim Wyatt worked for the Tennessean, trust me, Jim Wyatt had zero rooting interest. I don't know how much he roots now or doesn't, but he's an employee of the team, so it would be completely appropriate for him to have a rooting interest. I was at the Music City Miracle game. I was actually about the 10-yard line where Dyson ran in down on the field at the 2-minute warning, which we used to be able to do until Jerry Gray ruined it for us. Don't get me started on Jerry Gray. All right, people. That seems like it's long enough. I appreciate you coming. It's been nice chatting with you. I hope the Facebook Live deal worked out. Periscope looks good. Curious to see the numbers. I'm rooting for John Glennon just like you. Whoever mentioned that is one of my best friends. So, thanks for coming. We will see you again. Tune in to the Midday 180 tomorrow. If you're looking at me on Periscope, you need to be a fan of my Facebook page over there at Tennessee Titans ESPN. On Twitter, I'm at Paul Kuharsky NFL, Kuharsky. Midday 180, 12 to 3. Tomorrow, it'll be a lively 3 hours. It's always a lively 3 hours with my pals, Chad and Jonathan. We'll talk to John McClain, amongst others, and we'll get you ready for your weekend. So probably not many of you driving tonight, but tomorrow morning, don't block the box, all right? I'd like to send out a message of hope. Who could I send out a message of hope to? Somebody give me a message of hope to send out. Well, I have a message of hope for Nashville and Brentwood. My message of hope is that I hope that people don't block the box. Please. Peace and love. Cheers. Later.